Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Talkin Track. I'm Ryan Stillman, and with me, as always, my incredible co-host, Aaron Halterman of RacingDudes.com. Great to have you this week, Aaron.
I just want to know one thing. Are you excited? Because last week you were about to lose your mind over what's going to happen this week. Now we're here, Ryan. We're living it. Are you pumped?
I'm beyond pumped, Aaron. I'm 2 coffees deep,
Sure.
and I'm blown away by the fact that we are here. This is my most exciting week of the Derby Trail yet, personally. We've got coast-to-coast action. Don't you agree, Aaron? We could see the Kentucky Derby runner this week, don't you think?
It is without any question the best day of the year so far is coming up here Saturday, March 1st. There's no doubt. We got 3 Derby preps. We'll talk about them on the show. But not only that, it's like what you said. It's you can run Derby preps, but these are like, whoa, we may see something incredible. I thought, we got a nice little start with what we saw last Sunday with the Rebel Stakes. And that was just kind of the appetizer to the main meal that we're gonna have coming up this week.
That's so well put. And, let's talk about what we saw last week with a little stock up, stock down. Aaron, the Derby Trail comes, stocks rise and drop based on performances. So you've got some stock ups for us this week. Let's talk about that performance we saw. That was a major stock up for both of us. Coal Battle. What did you see? What did you like?
Just the horse that doesn't lose, right? I mean, he never is like amazingly flashy as far as his final time or the buyer speed figure or any speed figure that he's assigned, but he's now 4 for 4 on the dirt, so he's never lost a dirt race. He's won 3 straight Kentucky Derby prep races, which only Citizen Bull. He's the only other one that's been able to do that. And this is a horse that each race just seems to be getting a little better, a little better, a little better. And this one in the Rebel was just another one of those efforts. You kind of saw him in about mid pack, and then you look back and on the turn, you're like, oh, well, he's the winner because he was just running so much faster than all the other horses. Yeah, he had to pass a few, but when you're running that much faster than everybody else, you're going to be able to do it and do it without any problem. And the other thing about Gold Battle, not only is he 4 for 4 on the dirt, I can't look at any of his 4 races and by the time we get to mid stretch, it's like, yeah, there's no doubt he's winning the race, right? It's not going to be that close. One of his wins was by a half length, but you felt the whole way, oh, he's got this. He's just got to get past this one horse. So, look, people want to rag on him and say, oh, he didn't beat much, this, that, and the other. He just wins. And I like a horse that just wins because a horse that just wins also just gets you paid.
That's what it's about too, man. And by
Right.
the way, we gotta love a feel good story. I mean, this guy Lonnie Briley, he's I read somewhere and he's only had 21 wins in a year. That's his like record of
Yeah.
amount. And here he is, and he beats Bob Baffert. So feel good story of the year. We love those horses that have heart. You can never see that. That's the intangible. But let's talk about. We just mentioned Bob Baffert. Matticat Road, stock up for you, the runner up. Tell me, what were your thoughts?
What a crazy race this was from Matticat Road. If you watched the show last week, I said I like Matticat Road. I think he's going to sit in like fourth, fifth, sixth, kind of bide his time, get the jump on the leaders, and really look good and win this race. Fast forward to the race, this horse runs so fast early. He runs a 45.72 opening half mile. That's the fastest half mile at Oaklawn Park that day by over a second. I don't know why he went that fast. He went so fast that he probably should have faded to like fifth, sixth, seventh. The 3 horses that were up there with him ended up running last, second to last, and fourth to last. Yet Matticat Road was able to stay on. He gets second. He was never beaten Coal Battle. Coal Battle passed him pretty easily, but he was able to hold on for second. I thought he showed an awful lot of talent in this race. And most importantly, he showed another dimension. We know he can kind of sit off and relax off of the pace, but he also showed in this race, I can run to the front if you ask me to. So, versatile horse, still needs to improve some, but yeah, stock up still for me on him.
Stock up for me as well. And let's talk about the Baffert whose stock rose the most for me. Cornucopian, stock up for me, stock up for you. Talk about this horse, Aaron. People are freaking out.
People should be freaking out. So this was a horse making his debut, first ever race. It was race 5 at Oaklawn Park on Sunday, so it was Rebel Day. Going 6 furlongs. It was a field where, hey, you kind of looked at it and said, yeah, if he's good, he'll win. But he absolutely dusted this field. He ran fast early. He ran fast late. He didn't look like he was getting tired. He earned a 101 buyer speed figure for this effort. And in comparison, the winner of the Rebel, Coal Battle, got a 91 buyer speed figure. So this horse is immensely talented. Now, can he make the Kentucky Derby? I don't know. It's a little bit late in the game for a horse debuting in late February to make it. they've kind of said maybe we're going to take a conservative approach. But I will tell you this, the other thing I'll say real quick is I don't know that he even wants to go a mile and a quarter or a mile and an eighth even. He might be more of a one-turn horse. But here's what I'll tell you. That's the most talented horse I've seen as a 3-year-old so far this year. Without any doubt, the talent is immense with this horse. Now, what happens after that and where they take him, I'm not sure, but this horse is super, super talented.
Wow, that says it all. That's a big endorsement from Aaron. You don't take those things lightly, and I feel the same, man. Let's do 2 quick stock downs for you. Stock down on Sandman, the favorite. Why?
He did kind of what we speculated he might do. He is kind of quirky. He's a horse that had a really rough trip 2 races back, but that's just him. He's slow out of the gate. He kind of is slow getting into stride. He'll pass horses late down the lane, but he just hasn't shown that ability to get all the way up and win a race like like a Rebel or like a Southwest Stakes 2 races back. So he's stocked down for me as far as the Kentucky Derby. He is kind of a weird horse, kind of a quirky horse, as I mentioned. He might be able to put it all together. I think it's more mental with him than it is his ability. I think the ability's there, but mentally he still has things to figure out.
And a stock down for Speed King. Tell me why.
Yeah, unfortunately with Speed King, he did not get the desired trip, which is go to the front and take him gate to wire. He had to sit in 4th. He was really struggling throughout the race. So I just didn't like what I saw there. He might be a kind of a one-dimensional horse. If he gets the lead, he's going to be in good shape. But those kind of horses, they do tend to have trouble winning a race like the Kentucky Derby.
I'm with you, Aaron, and I thought it was interesting. I thought he would kind of get the Mattakit Road kind of trip there. I don't know.
Same.
So it was just weird. But look, that's in the past. We've got so much more to look forward to, guys. When we get back, we have our favorite segment of the show, Swiping with My Sister. You're not going to want to miss it. Come back and swipe with us. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the part of our show where we play a little game called
Swiping with My Sister.
Okay, for those of you who are new to this segment, my sister is a champion equestrian rider. She's been sitting on horses since she was 11 months old. She's represented the United States. Look, she doesn't pay one iota of attention to horse racing, but she has studied and been around horses her whole life. So what I did is I showed my sister pictures of 4 Kentucky Derby hopefuls. Just like online dating, you know how this goes. She's swiping solely on looks for the Kentucky Derby in this case. If she swipes left, the horse is left or unimpressed. If she swipes right, she thinks this horse has the right stuff to be a Derby winner. She has tons of great insight. We have 4 horses to choose from today, 4 big horses, all running in Derby preps this weekend. Aaron is going to guess how she swipes. So let's start this off with the biggest one, the Kentucky Derby favorite at the minute, Barnes. Aaron, did my sister swipe left or right on Barnes for the Kentucky Derby?
I think we start off with an easy one. We'll see, though. We'll see what happens, but I think she's swiping right on Barnes.
Let's see.
I would swipe left. 1, I don't like his expression. 2, something looks a little bit off with his back end. He's holding it a little bit funny, almost like he needs some sort of injections, which I don't know in that sport if you can or you can't, but I don't think he's going to make it through the year. Something looks a little off.
Ooh, that's spicy.
There's a lot to unpack there when you get down to it. Now, what she was saying to me, Aaron, we talked a little bit more. She felt this horse could win the Derby. Her problem is she didn't know if he would get there. Let's talk about that. Bob Baffert, that's a problem a lot of these years.
That's why it's spicy because, yeah, he's had a lot of injuries over the years, and she's kind of maybe predicting one there. And that's something that, it's hard to predict, obviously, when a horse is going to get injured. But like you said, we've seen a pattern with Bob Baffert horses, and now your sister's saying that. That's a little sketchy. That's interesting.
I think for a lot of people, if Barnes makes it to the Derby, he's an automatic bet. And I think even for her, but that is one thing to note, guys, is it's just like getting to the big dance is half the battle.
Yeah.
So look, I think what's really great is we see him this weekend and he's got the looks. He's just, let's keep him sound, right? Now let's talk about another horse who's had some soundness issues, and not with being necessarily unsound, but a little sick. Journalism. Aaron, did my sister swipe left or right on journalism for the Kentucky Derby based on what she saw?
Well, I'm in a little bit of a slump with your sister and guessing correctly. I'm going to go right here on this horse. He looks pretty put together to me. He's bred very, very well. So I'm going to go right on journalism.
Let's look.
I would swipe left on this one. I don't like the way that its hind end is. It looks like it's sore. And I think that it's, something that could potentially hit the board, but probably doesn't. Looks a little bit funky in its stride, and it honestly looks like it could not even make the races. It looks like it could end up being lame.
Wow. Wow.
I
So
love
here,
that. This is some hot takes on this one. We've had fun with this. We've had good information, but this week it's hot takes. I love it. You know what's interesting? They said he's been sick and stuff, but sometimes when trainers say that, and I'm not implying that this was a lie, but sometimes a horse is sick kind of means they have little issues they're trying to work through. Nothing big, but like little problems. So makes you wonder, right?
well, especially since I showed her that picture that's from his last win, and then he went
Yeah.
on the shelf, Aaron, right? So
Yeah.
perhaps she saw something there because that's one of her things, right? Like she doesn't know
Yep.
these horses, but she knows physicality. So that could have been astute of her, man. I agree with you.
Man, this is good. This is really, really good. And she has swiped left, and she's been speculating injuries might happen to the Derby favorite currently. And I would say journalism, the Derby kind of wise guy horse right now. So very interesting stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And now we come to a horse who's also a very big deal on the Derby Trail, Aaron, Sovereignty. Now let's talk about this. Did my sister swipe left or right on Sovereignty for the Kentucky Derby?
I'm questioning everything I've ever known because after 2 in a row, 2 losses, I'll go right once again. I'll go right.
Let's see what she did.
I would swipe right on this one. I like this one. It's got a really interesting look to it. A lot of muscular structure, very compact. I have a good feeling about this one. I like this one. I think this one could be a real contender.
Wow, Aaron, it's like you two are back on good terms and the world is right again.
I
That's what
don't
I'm
know. I'm still questioning the connection, but yeah, you're right. That felt good. That hit me right here, actually, in the heart. So that's good.
Well, one thing that I thought was cool about this was she said, I felt based on the pictures I saw that basically his stride hadn't been like let go fully and he looks like he's going to want more ground. And I think that's spot on, man. And I'm really excited to see what he does this weekend, don't you?
If you're watching this for the first time, we've done this for 4 or 5 weeks now, and she has always been spot on with stuff. And that is such a thing where it's like we didn't really see this horse's full potential till his last race. And we also, as handicappers, we are projecting, we still haven't because we haven't seen him in a 1.8 and a 1.25 miles, and that's where this horse is really gonna flourish. So yeah, I mean, spot on again. Love it.
Now let's talk about one horse who's polarizing in a lot of ways, Burnham Square. Did my sister swipe left or right on Burnham Square for the Kentucky Derby?
I'm going to go left on this one. It's a little bit of a risk. I get it, but I'm going to go left on Burnham Square.
Let's see what she did.
Okay, I'm gonna swipe right on the premise that I think he's gonna make the board. I really, really like this one. I think he's a bit of a maybe card that could surprise you. Is there a possibility that on the perfect set of circumstances that he pulls out a win? Yes, I think he could surprise you. I think he's beautiful. I think he's built really well. And I think that he's also just extremely well balanced and he's got really, really nice pedigree, in my opinion. He's beautiful.
Interesting, Aaron. And by the way, I would have swiped left too. I was very surprised on that one, weren't you? I mean, because I think he's a horse who started in claiming races, but if she's just looking at looks, I'm kind of with her. He could surprise us, guys. What do you think, Aaron?
That's why I said swipe left, because he didn't have this great background coming into the Derby Trail. You know, he was kind of a little bit of surprise at how he's improved. So, but that was some really good takes. And look, the horse is getting better and better, Ryan. So she might be onto something.
We're going to talk more about that horse coming up, guys, because it's fun to talk pedigrees. It's fun to talk looks. It's fun to talk money, I think, the most, Aaron. Let's get to that after the break. Come back. We've got major picks for you for all of the Kentucky Derby preps. We're going to start with the San Felipe. You're not going to want to miss it. See you after the break. All right, guys, the San Felipe is this Saturday at Santa Anita. This is a Kentucky Derby win and you're in prep. It's race 8. Aaron, to me, this is the most exciting race I have seen on the Kentucky Derby Trail. This is a showdown. Two of the top horses on our top 5 Kentucky Derby list are running against each other, and they might not even win. Let's dive into this race, man. I'm so pumped. We see journalism, we see Barnes, and we see Rodriguez all facing off in one race. This might be a short field, but it is as good as it gets, isn't it, Aaron?
First of all, I can't think of this race without thinking of being there live when you're watching it with you, with Mackenzie and Bolt Dioro going down the finish head and head, and how fun that was. But yeah, you think about that year and why I bring it up, because this year kind of does feel similar to that, right? You got the big Baffert horse in Barnes, and then you've got the horse in California that's not trained by Bob Baffert, but who is a big time prospect in journalism, who we talked about. So it does kind of have that matchup of two horses that are fantastic and heavily hyped, and we could see something special. So I think you just have to start with Baffert when you start looking at this race. And I think the number 3 Barnes is the horse to beat in this spot. You look at how heavily hyped this horse is. The horse is named after Bob Baffert's assistant, who has just been unbelievable with him over the years and really been kind of the an unkept secret, I would say, of the success of the Baffert Barnes is Jimmy Barnes, and that's who the horse is named after. So that right there tells you the horse went to Churchill Downs and had a battle with a really experienced horse, was able to win on debut. And then last time out, boy, he looked great in the San Vicente. He's the one you start with. He's the one to beat. But Ryan, can he stretch out in distance? His races have been one-turn races. Now we got to go to a mile 16th, 2-turn event. That's the big question mark.
It's a huge question mark too. I can say this: everyone that I respect, that I like listen to in racing, they're like, this horse is sitting on a powder keg. Whether it's enough to win, this horse is looking scary, right, Aaron? Like, is that what you're kind of hearing too behind the scenes? Yeah, based on that, right? Totally.
100%. I have heard nothing but good things about him. To be fair, I've heard nothing of good things about him ever since he stepped on the track just to work out, for his maiden debut. Yes. Every workout this horse has, people rave about it. And the thing I like about him is, again, his maiden win, it wasn't like flashy, but boy, he showed he could fight you. And then his second win, when he stepped up second time and stepped up in Stakes Company, he showed he can dominate a race as well, and just run away from him. So yeah, nothing but good things that have been said about this horse. Yeah.
So we're in agreement. This is the horse to beat. But if you're going to try to beat him, let's talk about the 2 horses that are most likely to do it. Let's start with journalism, because he is look. How can you not love a guy trying to take on Bob Baffert out west? You don't see it all the time. And he's a dang good horse, Aaron. He's coming off a layoff. And in his last race, he beat Getaway Car, who came back to win the Sunland Derby. Looks really nice. He's bred to run the classic distances. I think he uses this race, though, Aaron, to improve off of for next time. I feel he might be a little behind the 8 ball. Is that where you're coming from, too, with journalism?
It feels like that a little bit. I think he's the one horse in this race where he certainly doesn't have to win for us to come back next week and go, he's great, right? This does kind of feel like this is a big race for him. He needs to have a good showing. He needs to get his feet under him, but he's definitely one that is projected to improve as the distances get longer. And also, you look at this race, he is a come from behind type of horse. He's not going to be 10 lengths behind, but he's going to be 4 or 5 behind here. And he kind of needs pace up front, right? To where he can kind of get his legs going and really pass some of these horses down the stretch that might be getting a little tired. With a field of 6 and the speed horses are all Bob Baffert's, it's hard to kind of project that he's going to get the pace up front that he really needs to, or he can really see who he is. I want to see him come out, and I want to see him run very well down the stretch and, kind of run a type of race where either he wins, and that would be great, or he's making up ground late. And it's like, okay, he got second or third, but when we get stretched out and when we get more horses in the field, he's going to be dangerous. That's kind of what I want to see from him. I'm not saying he can't win. I'm just saying this race doesn't feel like it sets up great for him. Now, the flip side of that is, if he does win this race, we're either going to be looking at this and going, he is really, really good, maybe number 1, or maybe Barnes or Rodriguez, they weren't that good. So that's going to be the interesting dynamic. But again, it feels more like this could be Barnes or Rodriguez's time, where journalism may be down the road.
I'm with you on that, Aaron. So let's talk about Rodriguez. He's going to be the better price. You get Flavian Pratt. And look, Aaron, several horses he's come back to, have come back to flatter him. Baeza looks very nice recently. It was a maiden that he beat, came back and won impressively in his last race. Mattakit Road came back and nearly won the Rebel. That's a horse he beat in his last start. And look, he's sitting in the perfect spot to steal this race, isn't he? I mean, he has the best time form number. Why don't you talk about this horse a little bit more? He's got me excited, Aaron.
Yeah, he's the one for me. That's who I've got in second, and I would not be shocked at all if he wins. And you talked about it. He came back 2 races back. He beat a horse named Baeza by 7 lengths, and that Baeza came back to romp in his next race. That's a good sign. Also, pretty sneaky that Robert B. Lewis, he lost to Citizen Bull, our #1 ranked horse. Okay, that's fine. He beat Matticat Road, the horse we talked about in the opening, who finished second in the Rebel Stakes, and he beat him pretty clearly. So it shows you, yeah, maybe he wasn't as good as Citizen Bull that day, but he was good enough to be pretty good and beat Matticat Road. Now you're getting another race under his belt. He was kind of a horse that had a lot to learn out of that last race. He's dangerous in this spot. The only question mark is how talented is he? Is he kind of at his ceiling, or is there more we can get out of him? So he is fascinating in this race to me.
I'm with you, Aaron. Past that, before we talk a little bit more about this, I don't see any world where anything can beat these horses logically. So, right, Aaron, we're on the same page there.
Yeah.
Okay. The dilemma is, Aaron, I think this race comes down to, for both of us, possibly, but for me, go with Barnes, who's the probable winner, or take a shot with Rodriguez, who's going to be the better price, right? Would you say that's what this comes down to as well for you?
Yep, I think that's how you absolutely have to read it. Now, if you are just a massive journalism fan and you're not worried about kind of the factors we talked about, go ahead and play him. I wouldn't talk you off of journalism because I do think the talent is there. But the way I kind of see it setting up, I think Barnes is just a little bit better than journalism anyway, at this distance, I'm saying. And then B, I just feel like the Baffert horses are ready to fire a big one. Journalism maybe next time ready to fire a big one. So yeah, Barnes versus Rodriguez is how I kind of saw it. I took Barnes in this spot. Wouldn't be shocked if Rodriguez wins. I just feel like they're a little bit higher on Barnes, so I went with him.
I'm with you, Aaron. I'm going to take Rodriguez. Let's just go. If I have to bet, why don't I just get a price in Pratt?
Yep.
It won't shock me if Barnes wins. He's the horse to beat. But if he falters, I'd like to be there to cash if I'm going to, be in that position, because I'm not going to get a ton of money for Barnes. I'm not going to get tons for Rodriguez, but let's just go, guys. So that's how we see it. Good luck to everyone playing. This is a heavyweight showdown. We might see the #1 horse in the Kentucky Derby Trail come out of this race. You're not going to want to miss it. You're also not going to want to miss our dissection of the Fountain of Youth on the other side of this break. We'll see you there when we get back. All right, guys, the Fountain of Youth Stakes is this weekend at Gulfstream Park. This is a Kentucky Derby win and you're in prep race. This is such an interesting race, Aaron, isn't it? I'm kind of pumped for this more than I think a lot of people are out there.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, this is one where it's, we talked about the San Felipe and how we kind of know we've got stars. This race feels like there's the potential for stars. We also might have some pretenders. There's horses kind of right there on the bubble where we're not sure what to do with, and we're going to learn about them. I think it's less horses than the Rebel last week, but it's similar in the fact that, okay, let's get contenders and pretenders. We learned a lot from the Rebel, and I think the Fountain of Youth we're going to learn a lot from as well.
I'm going to make a bold prediction here, Aaron, because there are people out there that are like just sort of, only San Felipe. I wouldn't be shocked if we see a horse win one of the legs of the Triple Crown come out of this race, or at the bare minimum, hit the board. You got to pay attention to this race, guys. It's epic. I mean, it's really exciting. There's so many X factors is why it's exciting. So, Aaron, why don't we go through a few X factors here with you? Gate to wire, X factor, pass or interested in for you?
I'm interested in Gate to Wire. He does not have a pedigree that says a 1/16 is going to be good. However, this horse looked awfully good in his last race going one turn. If he can stretch out, I think he's interesting. So I've got interest in Gate to Wire.
#7, Niokos. I'm sorry, I'm not getting this name right, guys. X factor, though, for me, Irad Ortiz. What are your thoughts on him? Interested? No.
I am mildly interested. I don't want to say full pass. I probably won't have this horse on a ticket, actually, so I should say pass. But I am interested. He's been finishing behind a horse named Rated by Merit, who's off the Derby Trail now, but he was really, really good and a horse I was excited to see on the Derby Trail before he got injured. So this horse really never threatened to beat him, but he's been around him. So I just kind of want to see what's he going to do when he faces open company here with this Florida bred. So, but I guess for betting purposes, I will say pass.
#8, Keep It Easy, X Factor. What do you think, Aaron? Interested at all?
Yeah, you'll hate this answer from me because you have him in the fantasy league, but he's a total pass for me.
I understand it. No, I understand it, but he's an X Factor to me. And I got to get your thoughts on it,
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to one more X Factor. This solid left. he's kind of interesting, right? What do you think? X
Yeah,
factor at all, or?
yeah, he's a pass for me. Jump the gun there on you. He's a pass for me. However, I do like the improvement from race 1 to race 2. So he only has 2 starts. He was not good at all his first race. Second race, he jumps up. He runs the same distance as the Fountain of Youth, the mile and 16th. He looked much, much better. The problem is he needs another jump up, right? He needs to improve again off of that effort, which is not impossible for his third start. He could do that, but can he improve enough? I think an X factor is a good way to put him. He's a pass for me. But he's also a horse I kind of circled and was like, okay, let's see what he does here. Let's see if he can improve again. Maybe the next race he'll be ready. Stuff like that.
Totally agree with you. So now let's talk about, let's wind up as far as the big names go. Number 6, River Thames. I mess this up all the time, guys, but he River Thames. He
Yep.
is a Pletcher horse. He's really nice. The pedigree is kind of questionable, but maybe not at this distance. I'm talking about for the Derby. But man, he has been so impressive, Aaron. What do you think of this horse?
You said it best. He's questionable for the Kentucky Derby without any doubt with his pedigree and going a mile and a quarter. I actually think a mile and a 16th, he's going to be okay. It's probably the maximum distance he wants based on his pedigree. Now, horses can outrun their pedigree, but based on pedigree, probably the max distance he wants. I like this horse quite a bit. He's actually my top pick to win the race, Ryan. I really, really feel like he's shown a lot of ability in his first 2 races. And I think if he can get to the lead and turn the corner heading for home in a short stretch at the Gulfstream Park, when they run a mile and 16th, it's a shorter stretch. I think he's going to be tough to catch. So I like him the best. I've got him on top.
I don't blame you. I think he's really interesting. I mean, look, his breeding doesn't say this should be an issue, and that's all that matters. What worries me a little, Aaron, is I just don't feel like Todd Pletcher has that knockout horse this year for the Derby Trail, and he might in this race. Gate to Wire, this horse, I mean, they are really, really good horses. I just don't know at what distance. So I'm with you, and I like that pick. Let's talk about the 2 sort of marquee names here. Burnham Square, man. He comes back sort of to defend the crown as the king down in Florida. What are your thoughts on this horse in this spot, man?
He just keeps getting better and better. The last race, like you said, in the Holy Bull was a fantastic race. There's just no way you could say it wasn't. I didn't pick him to win, obviously, because I picked River Thames, but I do feel like this horse is just one that if he wins, we're going to go, well, yeah, he got better in the Holy Bull and won. He can get better again. He's got great connections. I like the running style. I'm not going to talk anybody off of him, and I'm going to play him on the multi-race tickets for sure. So he's definitely one that has my interest.
And now let's go to a horse who's on our top 5 lists. Number 2, Sovereignty. Talk about this horse, Aaron. What do you do with Sovereignty?
Do you kind of, I'll ask you first and then I'll kind of say what I think, but don't you kind of look at Sovereignty the same way you look at journalism in the San Felipe, where it's like it's his first race of the year. He projects to be better when they go longer than a mile and 16th. It might be just one where we're just going to see him run well down the lane. He doesn't have to win.
Aaron, I see it exactly that way. I can only go back to Mott's other Kentucky Derby winner, Country House, and I just kind of remember him building that horse up. I say winner. I'm aware, guys, he got DQ'd into a win, but Mott's style kind of build up a horse. So I'm with you, man. I kind of just feel he doesn't need to win here, and I'm a little perplexed on the long layoff. I just feel like there are too many good options here for me to go full in on Sovereignty, but I would sure love it if I have to lose if this horse beat me, because I'm a big fan of this horse, man.
Yeah, same. And same with journalism. And I love journalism's trainer and I love Bill Mott for Sovereignty. So it's kind of awkward or weird for me because we're sitting here March 1st and I'm saying, I don't know that a mile 16th race off a layoff against horses that have good speed is a great spot for journalism or Sovereignty. However, they're high on our Derby rankings because it's like, yeah, get 20 horses in a mile and a quarter. That's when we might see these horses really flourish. So it's a wait and see on Sovereignty. Wouldn't be shocked if he wins, just like journalism. Wouldn't be shocked if he wins, but I don't know if this spot is perfect for them.
I'm with you. Guys, I have kind of a hot take. I'm just going to put it out there. It could be completely wrong. I'm going with number 8. Keep it easy. Look, to me, Aaron, as far as the X factors go, and I know you're shaking your head, let me just make the case. I think if he can't win, he might run incredibly well and surprise a lot of people. I think this horse wants to go longer, and he's been stuck in sort of distances of 6.5 furlongs. Like, in his second start, Aaron, he eyeballed a horse named Sandman, who was the favorite in that race. He was 23-1 at the time. Keep it easy. And he just blew this horse away under no urging and just ran off. The next start, they took him over to Saratoga. And I'm not kidding you guys. If you go back and watch that race, the Saratoga Special, this horse is lucky he didn't break down. It was that bad of a start for him. Just go back. He's the 8th. I mean, it's horrifying. You're shaking your head. Yes, Aaron. And he wrenched an ankle in that race. Then he comes back. It's been months off, and he wins the Ed Brown Stakes at Churchill Downs by like 5 1/4 lengths in real racehorse time. He's been working lights out. Do I feel like, oh my gosh, I feel so confident he can win it? No, but I think he really could shock you guys. And I'm going to go with him. He's going to be a good price. I think Burnham Square for me, Aaron, is the horse to beat. And I think that's why you might have landed where you did, because, let's see what happens when they step up to this level of group. So if I'm looking for a shocker, let me go with the price. Keep it easy. I could be wrong. If not, guys, I hope you put him in your like, superfecta or something there, because I kind of think he'll show up well here. I'm just taking a swing, Aaron. That's my jam on this race, man.
I don't hate taking a swing, and I'm not like this horse sucks type of thing. What I'm saying is I just couldn't make the case for him. But look, you're going to get the price. You've liked this horse for a while, so go for it. And that's the thing. If you're sitting here and you love a horse and you've been following the horse for a few months and they get in this spot, you got to take your shot.
Absolutely. So for me, Aaron, I'm going to go Keep It Easy over Burnham Square, Sovereignty, and River Thames. When we get back, if I get the name right ever one of these days, guys, I might be saying it wrong. When we get back, we're going to talk about the big race in New York, the Gotham Stakes. Come back on the other side. Let's try to make you some money. See you there. Three, 2, 1. All right, guys. This Saturday is the third big Kentucky Derby prep of the weekend, the Gotham Stakes at Aqueduct. This is a Kentucky Derby win and you're in. I have a hot take, Aaron. I feel like these New York breds this season are a little better than what we typically have seen from New York breds. And this is sort of like a high-profile New York race. But this is sort of a battle of two undefeated horses looking to be the king of New York for a week right here. So what do you think, Aaron? Crazy take to think these are some decent horses?
I think 9 out of 10 years, you say, oh, the New York breds, nah. But this year, I think it's right there. I don't think it's crazy take at all. I totally agree. And you've got the number 4 Sacrosanct and you got the number 5 Sand Devil. They're both undefeated. They both have looked really good. And when you compare like their numbers and how they've done, and especially how they've done here at Aqueduct, they're better than the rest of these horses. So it is kind of like if you're new to racing, New York bred horses, they're, on average, they're just kind of a step below Open Company. That's not a foolproof thing. Like you have Tiz the Law, who was a great New York bred. You've got other New York breds, but usually they get to the Gotham and it's like, okay, let's get somebody from a different state breeding, like Kentucky or whatever. But here, yeah, no, the New York breds look good, Ryan.
Okay, I love that. And I'm pretty pumped for this. You're not going to want to miss it because these are some solid horses. We got 2 undefeated horses. That's where this starts for me, Aaron. And that's who I would pick between. Obviously, there's other ways to go. Is that how you saw it? Sacrosanct and Sand Devil? That's where you would be going?
Yep, that's where I was at. I look at all the horses obviously, and then I just kept going back to these 2, and it's like I think they're just a little bit better, and especially at the 1 mile distance. Now, I think both of them, the 4 Sacrosanct and the 5 Sand Devil, I don't know that they want to go a whole lot farther than a mile, but I think they can, and I think it's been proven at this track right here that they're pretty good at this distance. So it's kind of a pick your poison type of situation. You've got Sand Devil, who's kind of been running lately, and you've got Sacrosanct, who it felt like to me when I kind of looked at this horse, full scope. He ran December 14th, and he got his 4th straight win. And it felt like to me, Brad Cox, the trainer of Sacrosanct, said, okay, we're going Gotham. We're going to build this horse up to the Gotham. No races since, but you look at the workouts, they've been pretty aggressive with this horse. They've been working him fast. I just think they kind of said, okay, we're not going to mess with anything else. We're going to work backwards to the Gotham, and we're going to fire a big race right here. So to me, they built him up by working him out, and I think this is a really, really good spot for Sacrosanct.
You said good workouts, Aaron. His workouts are terrifying. His last workout was 3rd out of 135. The one before that was 6 out of 195. This horse is ready to run. In fact, I came into this race ready to bet Sand Devil, thinking open and shut case for me. Looked at this other horse, and I'm terrified. Another thing that concerns me about Sand Devil, Aaron, is Linda Rice, his trainer. She isn't always looking to take shots at the grade 1 level, but this horse's owner, Sand Devil's owner, seems to have made it pretty clear he wants a Kentucky Derby starter. He's starting very soon after his last win. Not always a bad thing, but what we're talking about here is a horse who has been pointing no matter what for this race, training lights out for it to run the race of its life, and another one who's it's sort of like, it's okay, this fits, I'm ready to rumble here. It's a really tough call for me. I don't know about you, Aaron. I feel like this one could go either way, man.
I think we could see a showdown. Now, it's not the high profile showdowns of like a Barnes versus Rodriguez or a Barnes versus Journalism or those horses, right? But if I see it correctly, the 4 and the 5, Sacrosanct, Sand Devil, they're much better than everybody else. They're kind of similar. I think they're going to run right next to each other, and I think it'll be an absolute battle down the stretch between these two. And you're right. It kind of feels like Sand Devil's more of a, hey, we want to go to the Derby. Let's try to do this, where Sacrosanct, it's kind of like, okay, we know what we've got. Let's build up to this. So which strategy will be better? Who knows? Which trainer's better? Brad Cox, Linda Rice, both really good. I ultimately landed on Sacrosanct because I just feel like the talent level might be a tad bit higher with that horse, but I would not be shocked if I was wrong on that opinion. It's that close.
I couldn't even call it, Aaron. I'd have to do something like where I put them in an exacta box. I really think it's that close.
Flip
but
the coin, right?
Yeah, I honestly do, guys. I really love Sand Devil. I'm going to edge it to him here in the sense of talent for me, but I don't know if he could take down Sacrosanct, Aaron, because he just looks like he's ready to run the race of his life. For me, why don't I just go Sand Devil if I had to, because I really do love that horse. I don't blame you for what going the other way. It's one I could regret forever, but Sand Devil for me, Sacrosanct for you.
I don't think you regret either one you picked. They're that good.
Well, come in, guys. Make sure you tune in and watch this race, and let's see who the King of New York for that week is. See you on the other side of this break when we talk about Kentucky Derby lists. Okay, guys, it's that time of the show where we take a look at our Kentucky Derby top 5 list. Aaron, let's see if there's been any changes since last week. Now, first thing you guys will notice, there is a change, and it's the same. Coal Battle, number 2. Aaron, why do we have Coal Battle ranked so high? I bet it's the same reason. What do you think?
Well, your reason is you copied me, obviously. My reason, no, I'm just kidding. Look, with Coal Battle, for me, it was just like, look, what has he done wrong? Like he's 4 for 4 on the dirt. He's won 3 Kentucky Derby prep races. He's done it so easy. Do I ultimately believe Coal Battle is going to finish second in the Kentucky Derby? I can't sit here and say yes or no, right? But I definitely couldn't say hard no, right? Because what more do you really want him to do? Does he kind of project like this elite type of horse? Not really, but he just wins. And he's beating horses every time where I'm like, I don't think he'll win this one. And he does. And like I said, he does it convincingly. He had a lot of things go his way. He had a really good setup. Again, he's not the most flashy horse in the world, but he just keeps winning. And he showed versatility. He's won kind of mid-pack. He's won from way out of it. And he's won kind of up towards the front as well. That's good for the Derby. So I just think it's a great reward for him. Let's reward him for doing so well. I've got him at number 2.
Okay. Very similar reasons why I did it. I'm going to be just blatantly honest, Aaron. I don't think we've had anyone step up and snatch that number 1 spot in general. That even goes for Citizen Bull. Like, I do believe the 2 top horses there have the resumes. They're going to be in the Derby. But like, if we're talking about like, oh, I've seen the Derby winner, I'm not totally sold. And then I looked behind them. I see Barnes, Journalism, and Sovereignty. There's a chance none of those horses win this week. So what am I going to do? I'm going to put Coal Battle below him. There's a chance, Rodriguez beats 2 of my 3 in that list. And there's a chance Sovereignty doesn't fire. And then I'm putting Coal Battle 5th for doing nothing. The point is, I just felt like Coal Battle earned it on paper at this minute. The others are just speculation, but I'm sure people are watching going, those horses aren't the most talented. I'm with you. Someone's got to step up and earn that number 1 spot. No one has, man. That's my opinion.
And that's been the theory for me since November with Citizen Bull. I've said several times on shows I do for the site and here, I don't think Citizen Bull is Justify, American Pharaoh, that type of horse. I don't think he's that level. However, I think Citizen Bull is very good. And I think if nobody else is that good, he'll win. And he's got a really good running style and he's got room to improve. And Bob Baffert believes he's going to improve. He said that when he was 2 years old. He said he'll be better as a 3-year-old. He's going to get better throughout the year. I'm ready to put somebody else number one, but somebody's got to show me. And, each week it's like, no, even like with Cold Battle, it's like we're giving him credit, but it's like, he's not as good as Citizen Bull, I don't believe, right? But like you said, we have journalism running, we have sovereignty running, we have Barnes, we have Burnham Square, like all the sources we talked about in the last 3 segments, they're all running. And here's another massive opportunity for somebody to step up. And then next week we're on the show and we're going, well, we finally found it. Somebody beat out Citizen Bull for our number one horse, but we'll see what happens. They haven't been able to do it yet. Let's see if they can do it this week. That's the big storyline, I think, going into the weekend.
This Derby Trail has been insane, Aaron. I mean, we've had fairy tale horses, returning champions. We've had promising horses that are a little behind the 8 ball, all of them about to peak. I can't wait for next week. So my question to you this week is, how much can our list change based on what we see this weekend?
Well, I think we know Citizen Bull and Cold Battle will be on the list somewhere, right? I mean, you're not going to see performances that drop them totally off. How much past that? A ton. What if sovereignty and journalism don't run well? What if Barnes doesn't run well? We're going to see big changes. And then the flip side is, what if we see something crazy? So it's going to change a ton this week to next, I think, unless we're just completely spot on and they run exactly how we have them on the list, right? Then it maybe not. But I think next week's list will be entertaining and ever changing for the first time in a while, because we have so many horses on the list that are running.
I'm with you. Look, I'm telling you, this year, some years it's just kind of simple and whatever. This has been like watching a great season of your favorite television show. I've never known where it's going to go. It was hard to get to Cold Battle last week. And even though I had him in my superfecta, it was hard to know, like we'd be sitting here and seeing Citizen Bull still a top list. I feel like it is must-watch TV, what we're seeing. And I am so pumped, because if you look at the history recently of the Triple Crown Trails, this is the weekend where everything changes always. It's just that way. So if you're like sitting there and you're like, I don't know how I feel about a horse, you're going to get so many answers this weekend. I mean, I think we are watching one of the better Kentucky Derby trails in recent times. Don't you, Aaron?
I do. And you said it best. The first weekend in March, usually you see those big changes. And then the first weekend in April, you see those big changes as well as those horses come back. So, and look, every week is exciting, right? But when you get these multiple races like this, that's when it gets very exciting. So I'm with you. I think it is must-see TV. I think you have to tune in and watch this. And I think, again, some races we're going to learn a lot, and some races maybe we're just going to get our opinions kind of confirmed. Yeah, we knew he was good, and look what he did, type of thing.
Absolutely. Do not miss it. Do not miss our recap. There's going to be so much to unpack, so much to look forward to. Guys, that is our show for the week. Thank you for tuning in. Good luck to everyone betting. I'm Ryan Stillman. He's Aaron Halterman, signing off. Thanks so much for talking track with us. See you next week.